Hello, welcome to today's video. I want to just recap on what we did last in our previous video. So we got our authentication. We came to this our workspace, hit our workspace, and then hit here. Drop. We remember that we dropped it on our parent here, not on the request. Because if we're dropping it on the request, it means that every time we have a new request, we are going to be dropping authorization. We're going to be dropping it. This is a get request. If we want to hit another post request, we're going to drop it. If we want to hit a delete request, we're going to drop our authorization. That doesn't really make sense. That was why we drop it on the parent here, which is this Jira API. So every other one we've been inheriting from the parent. If you look at it here, inherit from parents, right? So I just want to make that clear, right? So of course I'll delete this. Now we don't want to. I still want to delete this. Want it deleted. Yeah, so this is what we'll be working on today. So today we'll be hitting uh on our endpoint. So all you need to do is to get any request is add a request. Click here, add a request. So from here, just click in here to rename it. But before we rename, let's look at the endpoint we want to hit. We want to look at get project. So let's name it get project. Just double click here. So we can say get Jira project. Now, when you look at the documentation says that this is a get request. So by default, once you hit a new request, it comes with get, right? So it's already get. If it's not guessed, then it can be any of the these where you select it. But the endpoint I want to hit now is a get request. Now, they now said the next one is that we are going to the URL is going to be this your domain dot atlassian slash all of this. Now, what does this .net? Now, what does this actually mean? This means that if you remember when we're signing in, Jira gave us a chance to select our site name. Look at it. This is your domain dot atlassian.net. So this is what we're going to pick. So we're going to pick this, and then I'll prefer when you are picking, drop it on a notepad, right? So this is my domain. This is my site on Jira, and then the documentation said slash rest and all that. So search. So we're going to pick this. So this is the endpoint we'll be hitting. And when we hit this endpoint, we should be able to get a response 200, right? So we'll get the response. So let's go and see if we're going to get, if what we'll be looking at first is the status code. Let's first of all test the status code and see if we're going to get 200 when we hit this endpoint. So I'll come here and just drop it. And then I'm going to hit send. Now, automatically the header has been generated. That's actually how it is. So once you drop the endpoint, automatically the header is being generated. The header has already been configured by the developer, so it's not your headache, the tester, right? So once you click, let's save this now. I've already named this so it will be saved. So let's hit this now and see what we're going to get. Bravo, we got 200, right? So this is just it. So once you hit it and you get 200, regardless, don't bother whether you if all you get here is 00. If you've not created, yeah, I created an issue before and I deleted it. That's why you're seeing this issue. So in yours, you might not see any of this. You might just see 00 and then it just stops here. So long as you've got the status code 200, you're on the right track. Bravo, you've gotten it right, right? So you see, this is actually the manual process of testing it. So we've tested if we're going to get the status code 200, and then we get it. Now the next thing we're going to do here is this, my domain, right? It's not actually right that we'll be repeating it. Remember that in programming, it's not right when you keep repeating, same code over and over and over again. It's called repetition of code, and it's not right. So the best thing is that you save it somewhere and then you reuse it. That is where actually variable comes in again. Remember what we did? We've done that before. We are repeating it again. We're going to put this now into our global variable again, and then call it here. Now let me just show you how that is done. Let's copy this, Control X. So we come to variable, click on global, and then just like what we did before, we'll come to this initial value and paste the URL we just copied. Of course, it repeats itself here. Then here we'll name it base URL. right? And save. You come to environment, go to global. Now we've done that, we return to our collection, right? Return to our collection, and which we have here. So we can now come to this place, and then just like we did before, get your two open curly braces. You see it here, it's already showing base URL. Now that's it. Now this base URL, hover it, you see, it's already showing the URL, your Jira customized site name. That this is it here, right? So if you're not saying this, know that something is wrong somewhere with what you've set. So just follow the process and then reset it again. Once you hover your mouse, you're going to see it, right? Now, if we hit, let's save this now. If we hit this endpoint again, we're not going to get any error. We're still going to get this back, so let's do that. Bravo, look at it, 200. Okay. So this make your work neat and clean, and it becomes so handy. So tomorrow, if you, for any reason, you want to create a new request, right? You don't need to go and copy that, come here and copy this again, and then bring it to this place and go and paste. You've already saved it in your global variable. It's already here, right? All you just need to do is to be referencing it. Just reference it. Call it. Just call this base URL. This base URL is the name you use in referencing this variable. Look at the value. The value. This the value here is. This is the name you use in referencing the value. So just call the name you put in here. Whatever name you want to put. Of course, for this base URL, for this URL is usually called base URL because of course this is your base URL. Every other thing is secondary to it, right? So it's slash whatsoever endpoint you now want to hit. This is the base URL. This is the parent URL. Every other endpoint is slash this particular URL, this particular site URL that you have here. So that's why most people name it base URL, right? So that's just it. So you see that testing is fun. That's the honest truth. Of course, the first thing you want to get on your testing is the status code. The status code that the developer has said you are going to get. If everything goes fine, then am I actually going to get it? The status code here, according to this documentation, is that we'll get a 200 response, and that's exactly what we've gotten. So we stop here. In the next video, we're going to look at other um area that we're going to carry out manual testing on before we now start automating. Of course, all this we're going to automate them. That's the honest truth. But let's first of all do the manual testing. Then when we are done with the manual testing, we'll now start automating them. You know, so that's just it. So if you've gotten to this level, bravo, you've done a great work. Happy testing and thank you.